Have you heard the chilling tale of the mummy that opened its eyes? In 1976, as the legendary Pharaoh Ramses II was being flown to Paris, handlers swore they saw the ancient king's eyelids flutter. Was this a curse? A supernatural awakening? This story has been whispered for decades, adding to the mystique of one of history's greatest rulers. Let's unravel the truth behind this incredible legend. Ramses II wasn't just any pharaoh. He was Ramses the Great. For over 66 years, he ruled Egypt, building magnificent temples like Abu Simbel and Karnak, fathering over 100 children, and leaving an indelible mark on history. His mummy, discovered in 1881, is one of the best preserved royal mummies ever found, a direct link to a golden age. This is the king we're talking about, a man who became a legend in his own lifetime. So, why did he need a trip to Paris nearly 3,000 years after his death? The truth is far more terrifying than any curse. Scientists in Cairo noticed something alarming. A rapidly spreading fungal infection was consuming the pharaoh's remains. The great Ramses II was literally decaying. It was a race against time to save this irreplaceable treasure from turning into dust. The legend of opening his eyes was just a story. The real danger was the complete and total destruction of the mummy itself. What followed was an operation fit for a king. In an unprecedented move, Egypt issued Ramses II a passport. Yes, a real passport. His occupation was listed as king, deceased. He was then given a full military honor guard and flown to Paris, not as a museum piece, but as a head of state on a critical mission. In France, a team of over 100 scientists worked tirelessly, using cutting-edge gamma radiation to eradicate the fungus and meticulously restore the pharaoh, securing his legacy for generations to come. So, what about those opening eyes? It was most likely a combination of overactive imaginations and subtle shifts in the mummy's wrappings, or tissues due to changes in air pressure and humidity during transport. The real miracle wasn't a supernatural event, but an extraordinary act of international cooperation. The true story of scientists from different nations uniting to save a shared piece of human history is, in its own way, even more amazing than the legend. The journey of Ramses II reminds us that preserving our past is a story worth telling. Have you ever heard the story of the mummy that opened its eyes? In 1976, the legendary Pharaoh Ramses II was being transported to Paris. As his sarcophagus was carried through the city, witnesses swore they saw the ancient king's eyes flutter open as if in silent protest. This eerie tale spread like wildfire, adding another layer of mystique to one of history's most powerful rulers. But what if I told you the true story is even more incredible than the legend? Ramses II, known as Ramses the Great, wasn't just any pharaoh. His reign marked the peak of ancient Egypt's power and glory. For 66 years he built magnificent temples like Abu Simbel, statues carved into mountainsides, and monuments that have stood the test of millennia. He was a warrior, a builder, a god-king whose name echoed through eternity. His mummy, discovered in 1881, was astonishingly well preserved, a direct link to this golden age. But by the 1970s, this priceless connection to the past was in grave danger. The truth is, Ramses wasn't traveling for a Parisian holiday. An alarming discovery was made by curators in Cairo. The pharaoh's mummy was being eaten alive by a fungus. Tiny, destructive spores were rapidly deteriorating the ancient remains. If left unchecked, Ramses the Great would be reduced to dust within years. It was a race against time, a scientific emergency that called for unprecedented measures. The legend of a curse was just a whisper compared to the very real threat of total annihilation. So, how do you move a 3,000-year-old king across continents? First, you issue him a passport. That's right, in a move that sounds like fiction, the Egyptian government issued a modern passport for Ramses II. His occupation? King, deceased. He was then flown to Paris not as cargo, but with the full honors befitting a head of state. Upon arrival, he wasn't met by dignitaries but by a team of France's top scientists. They carefully analyzed the mummy, identified 89 different types of fungi, and began a delicate preservation process using gamma radiation, a technique usually reserved for sterilizing medical equipment. This was a high-tech operation to save an ancient king, so what about those opening eyes? Was it a supernatural sign? The scientists had a much more logical explanation. The dramatic shift in humidity and temperature between the climate-controlled museum in Cairo and the Parisian air could have caused slight, almost imperceptible shifts in the mummy's delicate skin and bandages. A tiny contraction here, a subtle movement there. And to an onlooker's imagination, it could look like the pharaoh was waking from his eternal slumber. The legend was born from a combination of atmospheric science and human awe. In the end, the real story of Ramses II's journey to Paris is far more compelling than any ghost story. It's a tale of international cooperation, of modern science reaching back in time to save a piece of our shared human heritage. It proves that the legacy of Ramses the Great is so powerful, it can unite nations and inspire us to perform modern-day miracles. The greatest wonder isn't a mummy opening its eyes, but the incredible effort we will make to ensure his story is never forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more amazing stories from history. See you next time.